Stampers. So every week what I do is I do a sketch challenge for people on my Facebook group. And this happens to be the sketch challenge that they did this particular week. And I go and I show them one card that it has inspired them. And then I go ahead and I make a card and then provide them with another card as well. So this was the challenge that we did this week. And this week I'm going to use Free as a Bird and of course my Stampin' Blends on there. But the cardstock that you need is, I have this 5.5 by 8.5 and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. We'll just go in. Now this is Thick Whisper White, and it's such a nice heavy base to have for the base of a card. Then on my second layer, and usually I don't have that small of a second layer, it is 3 by 4 inches. So this, I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and I made my die cut there. And my second layer is 2 by 3 1/4. I have also gone ahead and I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and the sentiment I'm going to do is 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. And this part here is the image. So it's just something that's going to fit across there, and then there is a strip across there. So I'm going to, for my strip, I'm actually going to use ribbon. When I do these challenges, I say to them, you know, go ahead and use ribbon, use strips of paper, that sort of stuff. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this ribbon around here. And I didn't want a bow on it. I just wanted it, no, there's a right and a wrong side to this beautiful petal pink ribbon. So we want to make sure we have the right side out. Now, another thing that I don't normally do is I don't normally have my ribbon go completely around my card on the inside. But I'm going to wrap it around just like so. And I'm just going to use some snail just to attach it right about here. And like I say, I don't normally do this part around the ribbon, but I don't have a big enough base to put it underneath. So I'm just going to do it like this. Now, hopefully I've got that in the middle. If not, I'll get it repositioned. So I'll just cut this off. Now this part is going to show behind the thing in the middle here, the layer in the middle, so it won't matter that it's actually it won't matter that it's attached underneath. This is what the card maker knows themselves. I am having issues with this. I did when I made it too, because it's not something that I usually do. All right, so we want to make sure that we've got that in the middle. And we don't. So let's get that so we've got it in the middle. That's about right. And this piece is not quite right. We're just going to attach that like that. Oops. And put it in there like that. I know this looks a little cumbersome to do, but it's not really that cumbersome when you actually do it. Now, what I like to do always is to put some tear and tape on here, and it won't come off. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if you wanted to and tied a bow over to the side, you wouldn't have even had to do this kind of mucking around with this, but okay. So I've got that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, let's get our stamping done. Now I've gone ahead and I've stamped Free as a Bird, this stamp set, because I wanted to have it good and dry. So I'm just going to, I'll have that and I can color that. Now, the other thing is, don't worry about it. I will have all my measurements. They will be on my blog, and there will be also a link to that blog as well. So I'm just going to put this part here. Get it so it's in the middle. And then this part is actually going to get popped up. So let's go ahead and pop that up right now. I'm going to use use. I'm using lots of dimensionals on this particular piece. It's a piece of designer series paper, so it tends not to, it tends to droop in a little bit. Now this is the Bird Bellet designer series paper. This is beautiful. It is retiring. So is this petal pink metallic ribbon too. It's metallic. It's retiring as well. Oops, I'm having issues getting these off. Okay, and then let's just put this piece in the middle there. Now we're going to go, I think what we'll do is we'll use this as a thank you card. We can never seem to have enough thank you cards. And I'm just using the thank you that is right off of here. I guess I could have done a hello as well, but I'm going to use the thank you off of here. And I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay because I want it to actually show up. So, let's see which way is that going. There we go. So we'll just go in there, and I hope I can get that positioned and straight. Oh, not very good. Okay, so we're just going to stamp it on the other side, which is the wrong side on this particular die. But that's okay. We're going to put that on. I actually usually always have more on there, but that's okay. We'll use that one there. And now we're going to go in, and I am actually going to fussy cut this out first because there's a reason why I'm doing that. No, let's color it first. So the colors that I'm actually using on this particular one is I'm using light and dark Pool Party, a tiny bit of the Bermuda Bay. We're going to use Crumb Cake. So this is a very, very quick coloring that I'm going to do on here. Just going to give some of the shading where it's supposed to be. And then just go back over with there we go. So not too much, like I say, not too much coloring on, well, it appears to have a lot of coloring on it, but it's really not that bad. I'm using the light petal pink and the dark petal pink for the flowers. We'll go back in with a bit of the dark, give a bit of shading on there. I find coloring so therapeutic. I don't know, some people get stressed with it, but it's so easy to do. These blends just help blend everything completely together. So, and the light and the dark Old Olive. Other color that you could use on here is the Mossy Meadow. It works quite well with this one, especially the light Mossy Meadow. It works really, really well. And then we'll just put this. And I find too, if you use a very, very light hand when you're coloring, it's so much better. I used to press down quite hard on there, and it's not necessary to press that hard, that's for sure. There's such small areas that you don't have to do the little bits at a time. Like I always suggest to just take a tiny bit of a space and do that. But because these are such small areas, it's okay to actually do this. Like color all the green together. So, all right. Oops, almost missed this one here. There as well. Okay, I'm gonna just go in and shade that, and then just there. All right, so then just make sure your caps are on, that you hear that click. They will dry out. They are alcohol based. So then I just also went in with the birds and colored, and I'll do 2 of these at a time. And then I did a bit of the shading with the darker. But I wanted some more vibrance on there, so I just went in and used the light Bermuda Bay on some, and then went back in with the light, and we're leaving some white space in there. Now we can go back in and finish the last two birds. Again with the light Pool Party. And a bit of the dark. And then back in with the light. And I leave, instead of using the lifter, I tend to just leave some white space on there. Now I see what I probably should have done was grabbed a color to do their beaks. Don't want to dig through the colors, so I'm going to actually try and see if this is going to work. Yeah, it's going to work not too bad with the dark petal pink. You go in there a couple of times and color them up. They're so small. Now, like I say, what I've done is I've gone and I then fussy cut this. Now, I do like fussy cutting, but it shouldn't take too long to fussy cut. And all we're doing is we're moving the paper and we're leaving some space around. Oops. If you try to go right to the edges, that's where you've got to be really picky about your cutting. And like I say, I always make sure that I move my paper. Oops. And then these colors they do bleed into the back, and that means that you're actually blending your colors. This one I didn't have an awful lot of blending with this. I find with the smaller images, you don't have to do as much blending with your, with the blends as you do if you take a larger, especially a beautiful flower image or anything like that. So I'm just going to go down here. Now, what I did with my card when we were doing this, I wanted to make it actually pop up a bit. Now, what I could do is I could color with the light Pool Party on there. But what I did was I took a piece like this and I actually I used some repositional tape on here. I'm just going to use some repositional tape. And I just put that onto my Pool Party. And then I cut again, but I left some space on there. And this actually just adds a bit of shadowing to it, a bit of depth to it is, I guess, what I was trying to say. I'm actually going to cut this off here so that it's easier to cut. And then, and like I say, if you're not that exact with this, it's to give you that illusion that there's depth with it. So, and like I say, I didn't spend too much time doing that. You can see by doing this, this does sometimes get people so that they get, I guess the two things that I love doing for therapeutic stuff is I love fussy cutting and I love coloring. So this card was made for me, right? Okay, so we're just going to go again like this. Maybe I shouldn't have gone as detailed on the first piece as I did on this piece here. The less detail that you go, the easier this piece is. See, I shouldn't have gone in like this. I didn't really need to. but we're going to do it and it's done now. So, okay. So that just gives a bit, like I say, of dimension on there. So because that's repositional tape, well, it's supposed to be repositional tape, I'm just then going to go in with my dimensionals. And we're just going to pop that up. I think I'll use another one right there. And then we'll just put that on top there. I'm sticking to it. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. This was supposed to be a very simple card, but it turned out to be a little bit more. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer that onto there. That, see if there's anything that needs to be trimmed. I don't think so. This one, like I say, this card, I'm giving lots of dimension to it. Most of these cards that I do give away like this, I give them hand delivered. So, not sure who's going to get this one. And then we're just going to put this onto there like that. Now with my thank you, I can put that down there. And I'm going to put that on with dimensionals as well. And if I want to change this because I don't like this thank you the way I stamped it on the other side, I can change it too. Okay, so I'm just going to put it there. And then I put some pearls on here. So I'm just going to grab my take your pick tool. And I like doing them in clusters, like a cluster of 2. So I'm going to put one there and maybe one about there. And then another one down on the sentiment down here. There. So there's the card. Pretty simple, right? So like I say, that was for a card sketch. It was actually this card here that inspired me to do this card sketch. And then I showed them a card sketch that I turned it like this, moved the sentiment down here, and took the ribbon off of there. And that's the card that I did for that one. So that's another thank you card there as well. So if you do like any of what I do in my videos, you can subscribe to my video. It is down below in the video. I'd really appreciate it if you do that. But also by subscribing, you get notification right away when you do get it. If you do like these, give me the thumbs up. Give me a heart. Leave a comment. I really do appreciate it. So thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.